my friends, and welcome to Rotten Tomatoes Countdown. I am so excited for today's episode because the Fast and Furious franchise has been cruising at very high speeds for more than 2 decades. I mean, the first film came out in 2001, the same year as the first Harry Potter, and that franchise came and went. So it just goes to show you the longevity and cult following that these Fast and Furious films have. This is about family, and the one that we've all come to be a part of by watching these movies. With Fast X, aka Fast 10 in the series, just pulling into theaters, we're gonna speed through our countdown of the 10 best Fast and Furious movies, all ranked by Tomato Meter. So you're probably gonna wanna buckle up for this one. Starting with number 10, Too Fast, Too Furious. This film marks the second installment in the Fast and Furious franchise, with Paul Walker returning from the first one, but Vin Diesel declining so that he could shoot The Chronicles of Riddick instead. Crazy to think that there's actually a Fast and Furious movie without Dominic Toretto in it. Anyway, Too Fast, Too Furious was directed by John Singleton, known mostly for films like Poetic Justice and Boys in the Hood at the time. And he credited Top Gun as a major influence for this film when it came to the action sequences. Like, literally, I mean, here's Paul Walker flying. I personally love this one so much because it's in Miami, where I'm from, but more importantly, it introduced a recurring character and vital member of the crew, Tej, a role that actually almost went to rapper Redman before scheduling conflicts opened the door for Ludacris, and he was like, move, get out the way. Number 9, The Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift. I gotta say, number 9 on this list, but number 1 in a lot of people's hearts, especially mine. I mean, Tokyo Drift is so good. As the third installment in the Fast and Furious franchise, this film was directed by Justin Lin, who would go on to direct 4 more films in the series, including 2 of the most highly rated. This is one of the few Fast movies to not feature the usual crew. But Vin Diesel, who missed the second movie, as we just mentioned, does briefly appear as Dominic Toretto in a cameo role. Instead, though, Tokyo Drift stars Lucas Black, Bow Wow, and Sung Kang, and it follows Black's character as he's sent to live in Tokyo with his father and gets caught up in the city's drifting community, which is a total scene. I mean, this scene alone makes me feel like I'm in a Fast and Furious movie whenever I'm in a parking garage.
Man.
Car enthusiasts will be sad to learn that of the 250 or so vehicles used for this film, 25 were cut up and around 80 were completely destroyed. Not easing that pain at all was a poor reception from critics and a rough go at the box office, which actually put the future of the franchise in question at the time. But luckily, they put the brakes on doing anything too brash. Get it? Brakes. Number 8, Fast X. Number 10, as in the 10th main installment in the franchise. And it's once again driven by a star-studded cast, one that seems to grow by a big name or two with literally every new chapter. This time around, it is Mr. Jason Momoa joining the cast as a villain named Dante Reyes, the son of a drug lord who was killed in 2011's Fast 5, and we all just really love a good old callback. And while Dante is hungry for revenge, Vin Diesel's Dom is fighting to protect his crew and his family, so in other words, bring on Diesel versus Momoa.
You remember my father, Hernan Reyes. My father was a horrible man. Very bad daddy. But I kind of liked him, and you took him from me when you stole our money and left us with nothing but suffering.
That's what I came here for. To end that suffering.
Now, supposedly, this is the beginning of the end for this particular crew and this mythology. But as you know, this franchise is never done because what grew into a two-part ending is now possibly going to be a trilogy based on what Vin told me personally. No big deal.
After the studio saw this part one, they said, could you make Fast X, the finale, a trilogy? So,
it's 3 acts in any story.
Yeah.
So are you guys confirming right now that we're getting a third movie?
Trouble here.
Wait, did that just happen?
Wait,
where are you guys going?
Number 7, The Fast and the Furious. Ah, the film that started it all. They were such babies back in 2001 when this franchise initially took off from the starting line. And can I just say that my car puns are slaying. And while Paul Walker is the main centerpiece in the role of Brian O'Connor, it was actually Eminem who was offered the part, but he turned it down to work on his movie 8 Mile instead. It's kind of hard to imagine anyone else at this point, especially playing across from the film's other star, Vin Diesel.
What's that, me? Now me and the mad scientist gotta rip apart the block and replace the piston rings you fried. Ask any racer, any real racer. It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
The film's original title was actually Red Line before it was eventually changed, which is good because, I mean, can you imagine them trying to come up with 10 different clever sequel titles based around that one word? Members of the production attended illegal street races during development, and the film actually includes real street racers for a little added authenticity, which is something that has really helped this brand endure. Number 6, F9, The Fast Saga. This film is a sequel to 2017's The Fate of the Furious and marks the 10th film in the franchise overall, hitting theaters exactly 20 years after the first one was released. This time around, John Cena joined the cast as Jacob Toretto, the estranged brother of Vin Diesel's Dom, and Jacob's not always easy to deal with in his jobs as a master thief, assassin, and high-performance driver, but him and Dom together make for one mean truck-flipping team. Justin Lin got behind the camera for this one, his 5th Fast and Furious film, one that was delayed multiple times mostly because of the pandemic. It broke a streak of 5 straight fresh films in the franchise with its rotten 59% on the tomato meter. But it has a very strong audience score, which is backed by a sentiment of who needs a believable story when you have wall-to-wall action? All right, I guess you could say we've been moving pretty fast, so let's look at our list so far of the Fast and Furious franchise ranked. Any guesses yet on who has the number 1 spot? Number 5, The Fate of the Furious. This one is number 8 in the franchise and is a sequel to Furious 7, directed by Straight Outta Compton's F. Gary Gray. And I gotta say, that name is really hard to read correctly on first pass. There's a lot of G's and A's and R's. Anyway, with an estimated production budget of up to $270 million, this was one of the most expensive films ever made at the time. And it continued the franchise's tradition of filming around the world, you know, warm climates, and of course, really cold ones too.
Oh, no, 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 no!
Roman, grab your door. Grab the door, Roman. It's cold. Oh,
Number 4, Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. Now, this film is the 9th installment in the overall franchise, and it marks its first spin-off following the events of 2017's The Fate of the Furious. It brings together a couple of characters from previous Fast movies, like Dwayne Johnson's Hobbs and Jason Statham's Shaw, who form an unlikely pairing in an attempt to take down a cybernetically enhanced terrorist played by Idris Elba, which is pretty much what you need if you're going to take on those two guys at the same time. The Rock said that he actually wanted Jason Momoa to play the role of Hobbs' brother, but scheduling conflicts prevented it. So, WWE superstar Roman Reigns, The Rock's real-life cousin, was actually cast instead, and it was awesome. And of course, as you know, Jason would later join the Fast family in 2023's Fast X. Everything happens for a reason. Number 3, Fast and Furious 6. This is the 6th installment in the Fast and Furious franchise and the 4th for both director Justin Lin and screenwriter Chris Morgan. At one time, it was actually discussed to film this one alongside a potential 7th installment, but those plans were eventually scrapped to just focus on this one, which finds Dom and his crew up against a very familiar face turned foe.
Okay, Toretto. Here's your girl. And your happy ending.
Paul Walker suffered an ACL injury while filming a stunt for this one, forcing the production to shoot around his scenes until he recovered. Sadly, Walker later passed away in a car crash 6 months after this film's release. With a fresh 71% on the tomato meter, Fast and Furious 6 received praise for once again putting together the right formula. And top critic Chris Stuckman from chrisstuckman.com pointed out that, quote, "These Fast and Furious movies have actually improved upon the mistakes of their predecessors." See, kids, it's all about learning from your mistakes. Number 2, Fast 5. Not only is this the first certified fresh film in the Fast franchise, it's also the first one to feature Dwayne Johnson as Luke Hobbs, a role that was originally developed with Tommy Lee Jones, which, I mean, I gotta say that would have been really different. As it turns out, it was actually a comment on a Facebook post by a fan wishing to see Vin Diesel and Johnson on screen together that caused Vin, who's also a producer, to make it happen. So Facebook for the win, but also we love Vin for always listening to the fans.
I don't think so.
Your mistake is thinking you got a goddamn choice, boy.
Your mistake? Thinking you're in America. You're a long way from home. This is Brazil.
Now for this film, Universal Studios wanted to depart from the street racing theme prevalent in previous films in the hopes of attracting a wider audience. But whether it was The Rock, the runtime, or the lack of car focus, the film was a major success at the box office, not to mention with critics, who said it, quote, "injects new life into the franchise." And finally, number 1, Furious 7. This is the 7th installment in the franchise, and it marks Paul Walker's final film appearance following his death in November of 2013. Filming was suspended after his death for a while, but eventually resumed with Paul's brothers, Caleb and Cody Walker, serving as stand-ins to help complete their brothers' remaining scenes. And most importantly, this movie served as an official goodbye to both Walker and his character, Brian O'Connor.
The most important thing in life will always be the people in this room, right here, right now. Salute me, familia.
Started out small to a real bond. Cause we're brothers first. Cause we're been through a lot, but it ain't over. We gon' keep it going.
You'll always be with me.
Change the game without even knowing.
And you'll always be my brother.
How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I would do, you were standing there by my side. And now you gon' be there for the last ride.
Excuse me while I wipe away tears. Furious 7 was directed by James Wan and marked one of the most expensive films ever made at the time, a common theme with these movies, with a budget of around $250 million. No biggie though, because it took only 12 days to become the highest grossing Fast movie at the time, on its way to over $1.5 billion earned worldwide. And an even bigger achievement, this certified fresh flick is the highest rated Fast film on the tomato meter, so congrats to number 7. I guess we can all say number 7 really is lucky. Well, my friends, that is our list of Fast and Furious ranked. It seems like it went pretty quick and frantic. Thanks for nothing, Thesaurus. Anyway, for more on this amazing franchise and its many installments, head on over to RottenTomatoes.com. Thanks for checking out today's list. Until next time, I am your host, Naz Perez, and we'll see you back here for more Rotten Tomatoes Countdown.